All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mindgasms. So, I know it's been a while, but I wanted to finally do a video on the second maxim in Epictetus's book called The Art of Living. Epictetus is the Stoic philosopher from ancient Greece, and this is a book that is actually a compilation of his different writing, which is basically just life advice, which is what Stoicism is known for. Practical life advice, which is very practical in comparison to many other different types of philosophy as well, which I am a fan of also, like even obscure theoretical stuff that weird continental philosophers talk about, like Hegel, Heidegger, Foucault, Derrida, Nietzsche, etc., etc. But even though I don't like Stoicism as much as I used to, because they do get kind of puritanical and they're too rationalist for me, because I'm less of a rationalist than I used to be, I still find their practical life advice to be extremely valuable for the most part. And Epictetus is my favorite Stoic philosopher because he offers the most practical life advice, in my opinion, that is still based on the underlying metaphysics and whatnot of the philosophy that I've explored with Chief Keef, aka Tim Keefe, on one of our older episodes. I can add that link in the description for this video. So anyway, this second maxim that I'm going to talk about here, I will read it now. It's called "Recognize appearances for what they really are." From now on, practice saying to everything that appears unpleasant, quote, "You are just an appearance and by no means what you appear to be," unquote. And then thoroughly consider the matter according to the principles just discussed. Primarily, does this appearance concern the things that are within my own control or those that are not? If it concerns anything outside your control, train yourself not to worry about it. So I like this one for a lot of different reasons. I love this maxim. So basically, it's about reminding yourself that if something is unpleasant to you, it's a good idea to remind yourself to attempt to only be bothered by it if it is something that is within your control. If it's something that you can control and that you can actually change, then if it's unpleasant to you, you should change it. But if you find something to be unpleasant, but it's outside of your control and you can't do anything about it, then it doesn't make any sense to worry about it. And obviously, this is easier said than done, but so to speak, practice makes perfect, right? Even though I don't think that true perfection is ever really achievable. But the more you practice something, the more your skill improves at it, of course, right? So if you train yourself to try as hard as you can to only get annoyed by things that you actually have control over and you can actually change, then the underlying idea, I'm sure, is that it'll lead to a more happy and fulfilling life for you because you're not wasting time and energy stressing out so much about things that bother you that are outside of your control and you can't change anyway, right? So I like that a lot for this reason. And I like this also because it relates back to that first maxim that I made a video about, right? Which is know what you can control and what you can't. So this is a more specific example of that, right? It's important to know what you can control and what you can't, which, like I said in the first video, relates to the serenity prayer, which is associated with Christianity, but they didn't actually come up with it. It came from Stoicism first, and then early Christians adapted it and added Christian and like God language to it, which is I think it goes, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change the things I can. Oh, right. No, wait. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I forget what the second one is, but the something to change the things I can. I said it in the first video. And then the wisdom to know the difference. So the wisdom to know the difference between things we can control and things we can't, right? It's very, like I said, easier said than done, but I think it's very valuable and important wisdom for us improving our lives, because especially since I have trouble with this a lot too, as I'm sure everyone does from time to time, worrying about things that are outside of our control and we can't change anyway. It's obviously a waste of time, and all it does is stress you out for no reason, right? And we're not rational, despite the in spite of the fact of how much Stoics think that we should be rational. But we can train ourselves to do things that make more sense, in the sense that they benefit us personally and improve our lives more, right? So that's why I think it's a good idea. And like I said, a good example of knowing what you can control and what you can't is the second maxim here: recognize appearances for what they really are. And what Epictetus is talking about here is things that bother us, things that seem unpleasant to us. So I think it's just a really good idea to try to focus on what you can control and not what you can't. And if something is unpleasant to you, try to avoid being bothered by it. Even though it's easier said than done, you can practice that, and then you'll get better at being bothered by only things you can change, and then changing the things you can, and then being less bothered by the things you can change, ideally, right? So yeah, that's why I like this maxim. And I know it's, like I said, I know it's been a while since I did the first video, so I've been making videos more consistently in general lately. So I'll try to do more of these too, which is a good idea. Because I love the great life advice, because it helps me personally. And if I can help other people by making these videos, that's excellent. All right, so I hope you guys are like this one. Hope you guys are looking forward to the next maxim that I will make a video about. And like I always say, thanks to those of you who subscribe to my channel. Press the like button on this video, hit that bell so you can be notified when I come out with a new video. Thanks to those of you who comment on this video with any of your thoughts on this maxim and what it means to you and how it might be able to help you, or if you don't like it, or what you think about Stoicism in general, or anything like that. And of course, most of all, thanks to those of you who are my few patrons on Patreon. I really appreciate that greatly. And like I said, thanks again to everyone watching these videos. It seems like I'm starting to get a little bit more attention, which is really great and is inspiring me to make content more consistently here. So look forward to that. And like I always say, oh yeah, before I say that, well, I always say this too. I have the link for my Patreon page in the description of this video there. Please check that out if you want to give me even $1 a month. I greatly appreciate it, any amount. And yeah, so like I always say, I love you all. Keep being the tiny beam of light that shines through the almost impenetrable darkness in the universe. And most importantly, always remember this: the funk cures all. And also, groove is in the heart. And also, recognize appearances for what they really are. And if something is unpleasant to you and you can control it, change it. But if something is unpleasant to you and it's outside of your control, try to avoid being annoyed by it. All right. So thanks again to everyone. Keep having mindgasms and spreading mindgasms, groove, funk, love, and wisdom throughout the world. And adios until next time.